What is going on, guys? It's your favorite mortgage lender, Abdel Kwame. Got mortgages. Man, what a jam-packed agenda we got. We obviously saw inflation on the CPI and PPI side came out. We're gonna go over everything in detail. Although tariffs really hasn't been an impact just yet, we're slowly starting to see just some slow signs in regards to consumer price index coming in just a hair, over expectations. PPI came in a little bit higher, which, like I always say, mandate is just so puppet controlled. And then we'll get, next week is a big week when we're going to get the Jackson Hole Symposium. But let's kind of find out how unemployment claims and everything were shaped out for this week. Okay. So CPI, guys, jumped up 0.2% in July. Again, last year prices were about 2.7. So kind of a little bit, unchanged from what it was previously. Energy is slowly going down. Gas is slowly going down. My wife always says, "Oh my God, gas is going down," and I don't really notice it since we switched to an electric vehicle. But pretty interesting to see some of the changes that are slowly starting to happen in that front. Tariffs obviously has not really significantly impacted inflation yet. Shelter component obviously slowly lagging, taking up about half of the core inflation readings. Once again, although tariffs they were expecting it to push higher, it has not. It's been a lot. It's been obviously a little bit more subdued. PPI report though, but this is on the wholesale side, rose 0.9% in July. And again, those readings we were expecting 0.2. So a little bit of a bad reading of what we didn't want. But once again, like we said, tariffs are actually showing up on the wholesale side, although it is blending in between CPI and PPI. And later on at the end of this month, we'll get some updates on the producer price index, and we'll get some updates on personal consumption expenditure report, and we'll kind of see some of the different changes that we have, Now with retail sales, so we do know that consumers are still spending money, Retail sales up 0.5% in July. It was obviously a little lower than expectations of the 0.1%. Once again, July retail sales, like I say, the consumer actually continues to spend money even with the impact of potential tariffs. Unemployment claims, guys, this is where I continue to say, this report again marks a 12th straight week of unemployment claims being over 1.9 million, which means that people are having a hard time finding a job after they are let go. That's important for us to know because, again, that's going to impact some of the initial jobless claims. You can't get a job. How can you go and initially go and reapply for it, So those are going to be the big thing. Now, like I said, later on this week is going to be a big one. We'll get some updates on builder confidence, which has been low, which, again, is expected, although I think as interest rates start to potentially drop, which are on that pretty solid tangent, we'll start seeing some of those changes. Existing home sales, we'll get some updates. Some of the Fed minutes again, and then we'll get some updates on jobless claims data that comes out later on this week, okay? So a couple different things for us to take a look at, I want to obviously make sure that we stay on top of what are the major factors that is going to take the Federal Reserve later on in September to potentially confirm that we will see that coveted interest rate cut that we're looking for. Of course, I will keep you guys updated. Not much else going on. So hopefully we'll kind of see what happens next week when we talk about the Jackson Hole Symposium, and we'll take it from there. Talk to you guys soon.